Hi, this is Mia, and it is Tuesday. Tuesday. I'd be like this for tea. I don't know what Tuesday is in sign language. I can spell it out. I usually don't. This is my right hand. I usually don't do stuff with my right hand. I do, but I volunteered to do this project. It's been kind of a nightmare. And this group has been so disrespectful to me, and it's a diversity group. And I'm going to say assume, I can tell you what I can I can sense. Hold on, let me try. I like to change it to red. Oh, not blue. I like to change it to red. I can sense what people are thinking. Look at the bags under my eyes. I'm not sleeping because I keep getting woken up, or when I go to sleep, I get woken up, and 3 in the morning I get woken up. I'm tired of it. Look at my eyes. Bags under my eyes. I'm eating salt and soy again, which I actually wanted my blood tested when I wasn't on salt and soy. Gained 4 pounds. I'm really upset. I'm a pound and a half or 2 pounds from obesity, so by the time I drink my morning tea, I'll be obese again, on 100% raw food. But I feel really disrespected in this group, and it has been one thing after another, and just a lot of it's just nasty. I had to pay it. I've been paying like $1,000 something just to be in the group. Like, and I'm volunteering, being treated poorly. Diversity group. It doesn't matter if I'm black, white, Chinese, Asian, Muslim, like religion, gay, able, disabled, you know. And even like another group is the like polyamory. What about the different demographics? I was judged by being a single mom. You don't see no ring on my finger, and it's just one of those things where you feel like you go in there to volunteer, you pay a bunch of money that supports these people's salaries to try to help with some fairness in the world, or in the country at least, and then to be treated like that. And then I keep volunteering. I keep putting myself in a pit, a lava inside of a crater, instead of get out. You should get out and run as fast as you can. So I'm gonna, part of me is like make a decision to release this group. I couldn't even speak for like a year and a half. I'd be like, I got something to say, but everyone else is talking. And there's someone with the same first name as mine, and they just talk to that person all the time. And why can't you address her by her last name, or at least the first initial? And it's like me thinking out, someone is finally asking me for my opinion. They don't know what I've done in the past that involves diversity, equity, and inclusion. That's all I want to say about that right now. They don't know. They don't care. They're like, oh, we're looking for some qualified individuals. And like one of the members in there is like, oh, I don't know you. Like, you don't know me, I know you. Doesn't matter. Yes, I don't mind introducing myself. But you're like, oh, I've never met you. Yeah, you have. You were my instructor in med school. But you were my teacher in med school. And these people are really snobby about, oh, I have patients. Oh, I have this. Oh, I have that. Oh, I have to teach a class. Oh, I have this. Oh, I have that. And I'm like, I have stuff like that too. I just don't necessarily disclose it. And when I started in this group, I was not doing the full-time medicine, and I was seeing patients, and the payments were super low, and it was very unsustainable. I could go to a home visit and come back and spend $70 on gas and get $120 for the appointment, and then pay for the toll bridge, which is, isn't it? It's $6. $6. you're paying like $80. Don't even count trying to stop to get food, which is like $60. You get a couple things of food and you pay the tip, and it's a buttload of money. So, you know what I'm saying? Like, what? Okay. I feel like today's Tuesday. On Sunday, I posted in a community group. I was up at 3 or 4 in the morning, and I saw that they, usually at 3 a.m., they post that it's Sunday business. They don't want you to solicit on this group except for Sundays. And I solicited on Sunday about my naturopathic clinic, and was it between Sunday and Monday morning while I was sleeping, I had this super vivid dream. And I also took this laxative herb combo, and that tends to make my dreams and everything really, really intense, and I get like hyper and agitated. Yeah, anyways, about that other group, I want to go backwards. Part of me is like, we need to endure this because this is going to be helpful for present and future practitioners. And I was talking a little bit about my patients. They're like, this isn't about the patient, this is about the profession. I was like, I'm just letting you know that this is indeed the need within the profession. If you're teaching profession to be diverse and you have these teachers, or be inclusive and avoid racism, students and practitioners are being treated poorly because of their demographic, but patients can be treated poorly because of demographic. That's going to put a bad taste in the public's eyes on, hey, this is only for this certain type of people. One of our medical school teachers and clinic instructors said, what are you guys doing? Our patient clinic is designed for wealthy white people. I cannot believe he said that. First of all, it's a clinic and it's discount. So yeah, wealthy white people, wealthy anybody, they can remain wealthy by not paying full price, or not paying the $400 an hour that you're charging on your private practice. You're having people pay. They were charging me $150 to come in and have a letter written. Like, I had insurance or something, they charged me over $100 to have a excuse letter. Like, this, nuh-uh. Even 10 years later, 15 years later, there's not an excuse letter. Be lucky if you could charge $35, maybe $8. You know what I mean? Anyway, it's a different story. But I mean, maybe $100, maybe. It's in doubt. You see someone for something and they need a doctor's excuse, you just write it. A lot of times, because you already charge for the visit, yeah, that $35 fee or whatever. If you had somebody come in and they didn't have a visit, and you got to do a bunch of research, and you got to do a brief visit and chart that up and look up a bunch of stuff and put together like the packet for the disability SSI, and you got to collaborate and get the records from the other providers and the mental health providers, and okay, fine, charge the discount. There's a discount clinic, charge the $100 for that. It's going to take 2-3 days of work and phone calls and printing up stuff and having everybody sign it. That's a whole different story. But I can't stand getting ripped off. I need a miracle of God. I need to just like dump down all the money that I wasted and got ripped off over the years. So go back to the dream. There was a practitioner that's not that far from me, and there was this dream that was me going to see, I don't know, acupuncturist or somebody in that community, and there was this controversy that was going on the phone and messages and stuff, and it turned into, in the dream, these two people were ganging up on me saying that I reported that somebody else, or one of them, not the colleague, but the other practitioner, that I had spread rumors that they were working without a license and all this chaos. And they were both ganging up on me, and then they were passive aggressive and didn't respond to the calls, and I was trying to confirm my appointment that was in an hour. This was a really detailed dream. I thought I was awake. It happened. That's that person that I'm, one of the people I'm talking about is on that community group, and they see everything. And I told them that I'm tired of these people in this town. I didn't give up my license. I'm not going to go to school and spend $500,000 on a medical license and pass all the board exams and get licensed all over the country just to throw away my license. The people here are so snobby. And besides being snobby, the people that hired me here, 100% of them no show, no call. And I don't know what their problem is. I'll say that. I think it has something to do in real life with that other person. There's another group of people that is super snobby, and they have this look that the world would call very beautiful. Young, long hair, light skin, yoga bodies, professional women, attitude, noses up in the air, very professionally dressed, driving nice clean cars, got that kind of, people have that smell, and they got that perfect, I'm playing Sims free play, they got that like white picket fence, American dream, and I found out that look, I'm just being fair, I didn't know these people, and I got associated, and I had to just drop everything and run. It broke my peace. I see these people see me. These type of people were walking around here the other day, and this guy on the bike was staring at them. That he was all the way turned around backwards on his bike, still riding right next to the street. He was about to run into us, and he would have run into the street without looking, because he was so interested. And I have historically been called unattractive, and I was bundled up with a coat zipped all the way up, like a hat with a couple hoods, this big parka, and I'm walking around with this duct tape thing on my right leg, and these shoes I've been wearing every day that are so raggedy, and I'm not turning heads, but I don't look at these people because they want the attention. It's cold outside, they got very skimpy clothes on, they got their shiny hair blowing in the wind. It attracts attention. They have a full face of makeup. Again, hey, I'm a professional businesswoman, and I'm a professional, educated white woman. I am gonna roll these streets and get attention and click, click, click around in my heels with this tiny little skinny legs, something that I've never had. Babies have fat legs. Some of us, we keep them. I feel bad because I know that look gets attention, and it gets money, and it gets more money if two of you are qualified for the same job. Historically, I've gotten way less money and being more qualified because I don't have that look. And it makes me sad because that's the difference between putting food in your kid's mouth or not. That's the difference between being able to go buy a car or buy a house. That makes the difference between being able to go somewhere and not be looked at like a criminal, because everyone's like, oh wow, that's a beautiful person. Oh wow, that person takes care of themselves. Oh wow, that person's so classy. People look at people like they're too skinny. They got the long flowing hair, the eyelashes, and the nails. It doesn't even matter what race. And they have that, hey, please take care of me world. Like, I'm not talking about everyone, because people can't help that they're what the world calls beautiful. Just like people like me can't help to look like what the world calls unattractive. And what hurts, again, is not being able to get jobs, not being able to have friends, not being able to be a part of the world. And again, re-emphasizing the fact that you get less money. You get paid less. Go to certain businesses and look at people getting into certain cars. It doesn't say that every person that has a certain look isn't working at the fast food restaurant and taking out a bunch of loans to drive the convertible, sports car that's parked out front. But a lot of times, I mean, even the look that they have could be the difference between them getting the job versus me getting it. And then having the job, period, so that you could actually qualify for a loan, whether it's, not necessarily, oh, yeah, well, I got paid $5,000. They got paid $5,000 a week, and I only got paid $300 for the same job, more qualification. Of course, they're going to have a higher look. They're going to look taken care of. That's the thing. They're going to go out in the world and say, hey, the world takes care of me because of the way I look. And I've had some people like that when they're in their 60s and 70s. This is me personally talking to these people. And they get really mad when I said I was dating. They get really mad when they say that I'm running my own medical clinic. And they're alone and cocky about, they're saying to themselves or to me, I should have it, not people like you. This is not fair. And they'll say that, and you think that they're your friends or your sponsors and the programs or people in your church. The world is pretty much 50-50. If you're heterosexual, it's like 50% male, 50% female. Like, there's billions and billions of people. I haven't had romantic interest in over 15 years. 15 years ago, you were dating a whole bunch of people, playing people, juggling men. Well, I say, how are you meeting people? I tell them, you gotta do what I did. There's a match for everybody. And those of us that are chubby and fat and dark, with nappy hair that sticks up all over the place, to get on a dating app. You'll join some groups in the community. It's hard. You don't want to just join churches and be a vulture and like 90% women and like 90% women and the couples, they're, 70% are couples, married couples, and then you got like 0 to 3% men, single men. And I found men in these churches as vultures. I found some men like sexual predators and vultures. Okay, so there is a class today. If I registered for it, oh god. I thought I put that this was, so yeah, I do have it. I probably have to register for it. Let's do that right now. I'm going to be traveling when this class is on. But I didn't want to be up right now, guys. You can hear my throat all scratchy. Part of it's to the food, being exposed to the chlorine. So what do you do when you're a person who's literally fallen or been injured or been in a wreck? And you're injured and you're on the ground and you can't get up and you're about to be hurt more. A semi-truck or something, and you're like, help, I'm human to human, and nobody helps you for years. Like, you try to get a lawyer's flirting with the person who destroyed your life. My body has been chronically injured from this car accident. Just the worst pain. And I check out, and I need to tell the providers that I have distraction. Some of the distraction is from the pain from the car accident. And that's been that's been like a big mind, like slap in the mind. So when the people are looking at those women with the flowy, shiny hair, the silicone wrapped hair, and I'm asking human to human, and not one person helps. They just keep walking. And I had this happen many times in the complete misery. What happens when we don't do anything for homeless people holding their hands out on the sidewalk? If you're like me, you look at your bank account and be like, wow, if I go buy a $3 candy bar, I'm going to be overdrawn. Like, you're just like, I got kids at home. I want to give you 50 cents, but I'm about to go. Like, can I put this in an envelope and put it in the ATM, or does it have to be dollar bills? You know what I'm saying? Like, you're literally taking change to the bank. And they're getting mad because they don't have the coin counting machine anymore. The bank's getting mad. That was just like, it's $20 worth of quarters. Come on. I need to pay my rent. Every penny that I'm pulling together. So there's so many ways. How do you deal with that, guys? If you're like me, how do you go through life? I went out into the forest. It's a park. And I look around and I know that there's people. This is going to make me cry. There's people that live there. I don't know if everybody there is actually an employee, or if they have actual like private residence. And it's like, these people don't let you do that. Dang. I just registered. Okay. I make sure everything's charged because I gotta do a job today. I cry. I was saying, what do you do when you try to live your life and you get all these doors slammed in your face? Going back to the older people, even if they were like, I know people that they got long hair, they're older, smoke, get wrinkles, lots and lots of wrinkles. They're small, petite, very kind with their words, and they end up being mad that they're not getting attention. They're seeking attention they got when they were younger and white and light. And they got old, and the culture in the U.S. is not very nice to elderly, or at least a lot of people aren't. Or just people are lost, alone, like in the homeless communities. And they're seeking some kind of attention that I've never received, being a black woman. My brother as a male, had received a lot of attention. And a lot of people wanting to be his girlfriends and all this stuff. So, as a young child, I knew that my looks wouldn't get me anything. Except for thrown in jail. People accusing me of doing crimes. The black person did it. And I've had people that I thought were my friends that were robbing places blind. And one young lady had blonde hair and blue eyes. And she said, I'm taking advantage of the fact that they're following around the store. I done stole a whole purse full of jewelry out of the jewelry case. And I ordered the little thing on the front next to the cash register. I said, I can't believe you did that. We were like 18. And she goes, because of them following you around the store. I was looking in locked glass cases. There's no way I'm going to steal something unless I break it with a hammer, which I don't have in my hand. I don't steal stuff. So I knew even younger than 18, like at 4 years old, 5 years old, 2 years old even, I remember some stuff. There's more on my ballerina days, but that's a different story. Growing big thighs in 2nd grade. Not liking the body type. The body type doesn't match the BMI. It's been people lecturing me on how fat I was. I lost 100 pounds. Why didn't you you're not even offering me any help. You're just lecturing me. What about when I was 100 pounds heavier? Or 50 pounds, at this weight, 50 pounds heavier? You don't even ask what was your highest weight. You just want to accuse someone. Someone can come in at 350 pounds, and they could sit here and lecture like they did to me, and that person could have been on my 600-pound life. We were 600 plus. But you're going to lecture me because I've lost 250 pounds? Why don't you ask me about my history and my highest weight and what I'm doing to do such a good job about keeping the weight off that I have kept up? Why don't you learn from it? Because most likely the person yelling at you is probably obese himself. So what do you do, guys? When I was a kid, I wanted to be a geek. And I have been neglected with development of my mind and mental, emotional, and then the PTSD caused by the people that hurt me, including my parents and men and women and everybody, kids, the system. What do you do when you say you want to be a geek? Because you know you have to use your mind, because your looks aren't getting you anywhere but accused of crimes. Accused of being, oh, you're too nice. Oh, what's wrong with your accent? What accent? I grew up in this country. What accent are you referring to? The fact that I don't sound like I'm from Compton, or I'm not sounding like I'm from Detroit? Well, maybe I'll just tell you I'm from Detroit. What does it matter? My relatives I talk to on the phone, they sound like human beings. You think we're supposed to be grunting and snorting? Like, or using vulgar language? That's somebody's personal, individual self. And maybe there's a few people in the certain neighborhoods that speak like that. All my relatives, we grew up in our families. We went to church. We went to college, and we went to college some more, went to college some more, went to church some more, watched TV. I was watching the Little House on the Prairie. Just like the rest of y'all. They threw Little Sanford and Son in there when I got older, but when you have 3 channels, you turn the TV on, you want to watch TV, you got a choice between CBS, PBS, and whatever other one. NBC, I think. You had 3 channels, you don't have, you want to watch TV, you want to chill out, you want to sit and read a comic book and eat cereal and dig for the prize, you got to do it with whatever's on. You remember the shows. Johnny Carson, one of those reruns, The Late Show, David Letterman, whatever. That's what is on. Grew up in a rural, a more small town, wooded area, rural area, country. It was about a mile or two, probably about 3 miles up the street from where I grew up, where you could have farm animals and farms. But I'm going to jump because it's a lot of pain. And we're trained to bow down to certain people because of their look. And not necessarily even look past the heart, or not to past the heart, but past their looks to who they really are. Whether they're deceiving, whether they're narcissistic, whether they're abusive, whether they're thieves, whether they do white-collar crime. It disrupts the people that I'm with. I had some people like this, and they're like 30s or 40s or 50s, more 40s or 50s. In Portland, Oregon, I walk around with my daughter, and we got the dirtiest looks from the same type of people, but an older version of the type of people. And my kids are very beautiful, and the people looking at me like, look at me, I'm a mess. I've had more rest in the past 3 or 4 years, even though I've been working 7 days a week, up to 20, back to my 20 hours a day, work, sleeping 3 or 4 hours. I'm walking around like, gotta get to work, gotta get here, gotta do this. I only have $17 in the bank. What can we do for dinner? Going around the store with the coupons, coupon clipping, and you know, let's look at that shelf that has the freaking food that don't have no labels on the cans. They're all dented in. Mystery food. It could be dog food for all I know. You know, and it didn't. Missing labels. It's not even that cheap to go shop at that. I was always looking at that when I wasn't eating canned goods and stuff. I'd be looking at that counter anyway just to check it out. I had some carpet little samples from one before, like wool carpet samples. And I've gone in and typically look at that, and there'll be a lot of stuff on there that's not closed out. It'll just be like $3.98. Like, wait a second, this is a regular price. Or you go to the aisle, say it's about a thing of cookies that's $3.98, and you go to the aisle and they got like the same ones or different size, like a bigger size, 2 for $5. Alright, wait a second. Like, if I get it here, the 2 for $5 versus 1 for $3.98, like, it's a trick. It's a trick. It's a trick. How much am I remembering? To try to be a geek, try to watch TV shows and movies where kids were playing chess and kids were going to math championships and stuff, and You know, you got the silly sci-fi movies where the kids have made that little robot woman or whatever that did these experiments, and reading books and science fiction. Jules Verne. As soon as I could walk around and see the world, I knew that I could just float. And if I go into certain communities, because of the nappy hair and lack of makeup, the bust up nails, I'm also been treated a certain way. Don't belong. And I tell you guys that I was in 2 beauty pageants when I was younger. One was talent and beauty, and the other one was straight just beauty. It's needless to say that I didn't win or even place in either of those. No recognitions. I think, I'm not sure if there was another African American in the one that I did, the Miss Teen USA one, Miss Teen Michigan. I think I was the only African American in the Iosco County. I wish I had the pictures from there, guys. I'm really sad that I don't have the pictures from that. I need archives of it. A lot of stuff got lost, but I wanted just to go out there. I was a young woman, young adult. I was an adult, a young teenager, an old teenager. I was like 16, 17 when I did those. Maybe, I don't know if I did one at 15. And I told my partner that we had to like duct tape our breast and put Vaseline on our teeth and do these certain exercises to firm our thighs, and it was just really intense, like the show business and how to stand in the posture. And I wish I could carry myself today like that. I took a lot of public speaking classes, and I used to sit in my 12-step meetings, and I'd read the literature, and I'd look at everybody like I was taught, and then I sat in there and saw people that just learned how to read, people that can't see because they didn't have glasses, and people that had fried their brains and didn't recover it as fast as I did. I started bowing down and pretending that I could just read like everybody else instead of being my true self. So it's like basically lying. Going to beauty pageants back then meant you had a bunch of money to spend to go to the beauty pageant. So was it the top people, or did they take me as a token? I don't know. I never will know. Saw one in the back of a 17 magazine. This is a profitable business. How many $2,000 or $3,000 did my dad spend for me to be in the pageant? I really enjoyed the experience. They had a dinner with everybody. I remember it seemed like a bunch of blonde girls and a bunch of brunettes that owned horse property and horses and stuff. I think that's who won. I had the videos of this all gone. And the only time we got modeling, really, me and my kids, when we were in a homeless shelter, moved from homeless shelter to transitional, they selected us to be used as models in Portland, Oregon. And the proceeds were supposed to go to some program. They were going to make they took our pictures in color, they made them black and white, the person who did this, and they blew them up real big, and I guess framed them or matted them, and they were on display in North Portland on Martin Luther King Jr. Boulevard, and I went and saw me and my kids up on the picture. I barely got there in time, and the guy was so nice. And the gallery was like, it seemed like an old garage. It was an African American guy. It wasn't like, it may have been fancy, but to me it felt like I was in some 100-year-old extended barn or something, but within the city limits. And I had to drive over there. I couldn't take my kids because they were in school, and I had to see that my dream come true, that I was a model, and I was a model of a homeless family. Like, you're not proud of it. You're a model of homeless people that have no money, no food. You're wearing raggedy clothes in the picture. And we had some decent clothes from free piles. I couldn't even buy any clothes at the thrift store because even back in 2004 it was so expensive. It was a model of a homeless family. My dream came true, so be careful what you wish for. It wasn't glitz and glamour. And it'd lead to a modeling career, a commercial career, where I could stand there and sell soap. But the model is me and my kids continue our education. We didn't break laws. We didn't break rules. We were kind to our neighbors, even if they weren't kind to us, and that hurts too. We were kind to our family members when they weren't kind to us. It's kind of like your world is like in your own island, but when you're like still digging yourself out from homelessness, it's like your world is your cardboard box that you live in, and everyone else is driving by with Lamborghinis and buying high quality fuel for their sports cars and their Porsche 911s and their private planes, $1 million RVs, and if I had an extra $100 lying around, you know what I'd want to do first? I'd want to pay my rent. It wouldn't be extra. I want to get out of debt, so I can get out of debt and get a house. I'd reduce my housing, low income housing, $2,400 a month for low income individuals. $2,400 a month. People have 3,000 square foot houses. They're paying less than $800 a month in their mortgage. I feel like the earth is swallowing me whole. I keep wanting to prep, and I only bought fresh fruits and vegetables the other day, and a gallon of water. That was $1.99 a gallon. Like the price of water is gonna be the price of gas. If I could drink the tap, I would. I told you guys that the tap water had these bubbles in the bottom, these greasy brown bubbles in this film, and they were like perfect circles, like it was like oil or some kind of benzene or I don't know what it was. I wish I would have saved that bottle and did a test kit on it. Yuck. But I got a store I'm selling all my personal items in online. And it hurts. It's not a store where I'm going sourcing at their stores and the bins and buying stuff. It's a store where I'm selling my personal items, right, which I used to give away to the Goodwill. What hope is there for people like us, guys? We'll try to band together and some geeky people, and it becomes a cat fight. I'm like, we're supposed to collaborate in order to help our patient population and our client population. Like, why is it so cliquey? Why are you so like that? I used to think when I was being really treated poorly in the Christian churches, even the Buddhist places, I used to think that I'd see like 1 in 1,000, like a little old lady that was legit with her heart. And it didn't even need to have the word Christian on it or God-fearing. It was just like, from what I sensed and my experience with this, be a pure-hearted person, human being. And I found it very rare. And I always was grateful for people like that. Or I was hopeful that I'd meet somebody like that. And now that I'm in the later 40s, I'm hopeful or hoping that I can be that little old lady. And for men, I would see, I couldn't read men as well. I didn't sense that from the men I see in the Christian churches I went to. For men, I saw that in more than 1 in 1,000 in the 12-step meetings, AA meetings, particularly. And nowadays, Al-Anon, I see probably 10 in 1,000. 5 and 100 more percentage. That's just my personal thing. I see more good-hearted individuals, and they're teaching me that you can, like can be with like. You don't have to be in the nasty world and deal with, if you're with like someone abusive, and in order to protect yourself from an abusive person, you start to become abusive to use that defense, or you're protecting yourself by learning from them how to play that game of, I don't even know, it's just sick. It's like being in a demonic pen, like a corral where the fence is all fire. It's like you can't get out. You got yourself trapped, and you gotta fight fire with fire. Basically, they lash at you. You have to lash back, and you could be in a heavenly place in a hot tub environment, or in a sauna where people are like meditating and being real. It's not saying we're perfect. It's not saying we don't get mad. It's not saying that we don't have our ups and downs and our bad days, but just that sinister feeling that there's people that you see in certain people. And they say hurting people hurt people. So you still have a heart, but when do you draw the line? When it's really making you sick, and it's really making you and your family suffer. So what do you do when you're like us, when you're like me, when you're part of the forgotten, when you're treated differently? You have sponsors, they're meeting with their sponsees. They got 5 sponsees, they're meeting with them weekly, inviting them over to the house. They're going to meetings together, driving around. They're meeting at retreats, having sponsor tree. What do they call it? Not grandfather. It's like sponsor tree, where it's like, if I have my sponsors come, and then they come, and then the grand sponsor comes. You know what I'm saying? And people host these. And it's like you see these people just like at church. And after the event, you hear about it. Oh, it's like, why wasn't I invited? Like, I'm a part of that group. And then you look around and you're like, I'm the only black person. And I'm the only one. Is it a coincidence? If I was white, would they still do that because I'm poor? I'm poor and black and fat. The other people are white, and they have long, flowing, shiny hair. Light hair, light skin, light eyes. Like, is it a coincidence? Did they just happen to forget? Did they have a mistrust in me because of my skin color? Another event I was at, that I had participated in, and I avoided it for a while, and then there became this big thing that happened with the group, that they were revamping something, and I ended up getting a bunch of messages. So I went back, and recently I had this sense that people were. I stopped talking to someone because they were blabbing my business, and then my heart dropped because they were blabbing mine and my partner's personal business, and I could sense that they were making up stuff, either from their own making up stereotypes, or there's some lies about from certain individuals that my partner is associated with. There's some really, really greedy people. These people suit up and show up, and they're all applauded. People around town, oh, I bow down, I love that family. They lie through your teeth. Like, it's not even just me walking up to them and they're like, oh, nice to meet you. It's like, I see stuff on paper. Straight up lies. Like, I don't know, Judge Judy times 1,000, we need to help get the justice here. Like, literally, like, I see it in my very eyes. I didn't doubt it. And I always hope things are in the past. Things are in the past. People wise up, grow up. You're 60, 70 years old, grow up. Didn't grow up. I got an item for Christmas that potentially makes me my own queen or lady. I just want to say. I know I didn't buy that land in Scotland yet. I wanted to. I'm like, what's the taxes on that stuff? What do I do? I taxes say, you own a $30 plot of land in Scotland. You got to pay Like, it's like, you gotta pay some high tax. You gotta pay like $6,000 a year US plus 3,000. I'm like, oh gosh, I gotta look up the tax information. I'm gonna just buy myself one first. Um, so my kids are, Lila's like, haha, this is a good, funny gift for loved ones, but what are the fine print under that gift? Um, I had told my relative once that, what would it take for me to be a princess? And he says, well, you need to marry a prince. And that's kind of a masculine thing to say, but I mean, basically, you gotta marry a prince if you're not royal, but who made them royal? And there's African queens. People can say African queens. Treat your woman right. Treat your woman with respect. And there's a lot of stuff as African American that's feel like you're just being pounded and pounced, and you're just like, I just want to show love. And there's struggle. People can say, oh, those people, they don't write clearly. They don't speak in a way that I like. I was like, well, you don't speak in a way that they like. Do you ever think of that? Why is your way the right way? Oh, I don't like how they're wearing their pants like that, or how they're wearing tight clothes. Maybe that's the only thing that's for sale in the store. Maybe that's the only thing, if you have big thighs and hips, maybe that's the only thing you can walk in that's not like wearing a tent where you're knocking over, you know, glass and getting stuck on doorknobs. You know, been there, done that, knocking over stuff because your clothes are too big, because they're not designed for your body type. Like, you gotta think about it. People are going to get plastic surgery, have bodies that you're judging, you know. It's a culture, it's anti-cultural. Their way is the only way. I don't like this. And then there's a lot of issues that I've seen is people are struggling because you have separate schools, separate neighborhoods, separate but equal. It's supposed to be a thing, separate but unequal. During that time in the United States of America, the black children were taken to different schools. Happy belated Martin Luther King Jr. Day, by the way. And they didn't get the new books. They didn't get the same type of teachers. They didn't get the same grounds and upkeep on the buildings as the white people did. And they got the old books from the white schools. Outdated old books, raggedy books, used up books, torn up books, dirty books. It's not the same. It's not equal. I gotta get to the post office and head out there in about an hour. I'll go get my tea. See, this one, this one I set last night. It's too sweet. My tea is not the same. It used to taste a little bit like the marshmallow egg for Easter, those colorful ones that are hard as a rock. You're like, what kind of marshmallow is that? I love those things. I just haven't had them in who knows how many years. Talk to your higher power. Be your own king or queen. Don't rely on other people's status to have to leech on to somebody else. There's always love, bond. I was gonna say bondage, but bonding, love, attraction. That is true romance, and not just, hey, I really want to be a princess or queen. How do I become a socialite so I can get invited to all the places where the royals are? How can I be friends of friends of friends of these people so that I can be invited where the royals are? The single royals, or the soon-to-be widowed or widowered, you know. Things happen naturally, but what can you do with yourself? Can you meditate? What if you don't sit still like me? What if you're distracted from those around you that don't sit still? Can you take 5 seconds and take a breath? What do you do when, like the beginning of my video, and if anybody from that group watches this, I'm not disclosing what group this is, because I'm in more than one. And I was treated At least 2 of them I can think of. I didn't like the way I was treated. And I gave and gave and gave and gave and gave. And it doesn't seem like it matters when you get this old and you have did so many achievements when you're young, even when you're homeless, that you don't need to be stacking more on your CV or your resume because there's no room. And it's good to stay current, and, I should be looking to take a position as a board member somewhere where we meet once a month and it's a paid position, and utilize that paid position to show respect, or let the company or the nonprofit show respect to its board members for their valuable time that you're setting aside, not just in the actual meetings together, but outside of the meetings, behind the scenes. When you're available for certain things, it's easier to jump. And it doesn't matter if you have billions of dollars in the bank to show that appreciation. There's funding. People put together these groups and they decide who's going to be paid. I've been in some situations where the long-term members that have been there for 10, 15 years, 8 years, 3 years, they made a budget. Someone proposes a budget where they're brand new. They say the president and them are the only ones that are going to get paid like $100,000 a year or something. Like, what about the rest of us? You're going to have that kind of funding. Then you split it. You got $200,000 to use, fine, whatever. You let the president decide. But the president was the owner. Maybe not let the president, if it's a nonprofit, you need to vote on stuff, right? They just propose something. Take the $200,000 budget a year and divide it 10 ways, Give us each the $20,000, or if there's only 5 of us, give us the $40,000, whatever it adds up to, Or just give someone a stipend for their time and actually use the nonprofit money to take care of the public, integrative healthcare, or whatever kind of healthcare. So what do you do when you want to be the king or queen of your own castle? What do you do if you're laying on the street? Like the panda photographer, you're selling your personal belongings that are making your business. Bad enough to sell clothes that don't fit, that are cute, that you wish you fit into, but if you had to sell your computer and your cameras and your car, you're an Uber driver, you have to sell your car, then you're not going to Uber anymore. What are you going to do? It's like making a pact with the devil. Someone's a supermodel. What if I became a model? A chubby, short model. You could sell your soul to the devil. They only want to look at your face. If you get a big gash in front of your face, the devil's taking your career right now. Do you have insurance on that? Your devil's taking your career right now. Unless it's one of those places that says, hey, you're still going to be the spokesperson for this product because you're real. Too thick and thin, Where will you find something like that? It's been hard enough for me to even try to see. You had to see the first Muslim model that's wearing a hijab, or in the U.S. or whatever company, and you're like, really? This type of look has been around for thousands of years. It's, just there's anything. I can go on and on about that, but what do you have in your heart when you're out in the woods and you see waterfront property, peace and quiet, wild animals everywhere, deer, and you say, this isn't for me? There's a whole bunch of people living up and down this river, around this pond, around this lake, on the ocean front. This isn't for me. Peace and quiet land, to be able to grow my own garden, deal with my own pests, paint my house, hire someone to do my plumbing, fix up my plumbing so that the shower doesn't back up every time you turn the water on for 2 seconds. Bugs all over. There's holes in the building. That's one way you can stop pests. Whether it be flies or rats, seal up those dang holes and then get rid of what's already done got in there and bred over the past 50 years. I don't know. It's it seems to me you're not paying $1,000 to $2,400 of rent for the lowest, cheapest place you can have. That's one step away from homelessness or homeless shelter. And the landlords cannot fix the holes, and they try to pay for heat. It's just ridiculous. Being the king and queen in your own place having a dream about those people after I posted something that you know they saw. I want to try to block that person from seeing it. Being envious of someone because, like for myself, or seeing their family and walking around with them knowing that they're living in a mansion house and got really good income. And I'm just getting started in my career. And I have to be a channel between me and my higher power, between me and God, where it's like, it doesn't matter what those people are doing. You're having dreams, you're having things. You had to enter your meeting last night, finally, for an hour, thank God. Pretty much exactly an hour. And you had to put those blinders on and you had to find what is your path. Who's Confucius? There used to be a encyclopedia that had a video game attached to it, Britannica or something on a Windows 95 machine or something like that. What is your path? I had to look more about Confucius, but that just popped into my mind from the video game. So I didn't know about Eastern culture, even though my whole house when I was a kid was all decorations from Thailand. Buddhas and Asian silk screen prints framed with flowers and all this Asian writing I could never read. 7 to 8 billion people in the world. Each one has a path. And each day that we're alive, no matter where we are, if we follow that path, then what is it? Path to righteousness, a path to enlightenment. It's a path that our higher power, the universe, created for us that we may not have ever been on before. Maybe we were thieves, Grand Theft Auto. Maybe somebody was, again, selling timeshares, not very friendly, and maybe they had a conscience that said, hey, I don't really like doing this, but we're definitely making money and I'm making a living feeding my kids. And these people they're not having their arm twisted. We're just good salespeople. Or they come back onto a certain path. Maybe that's their path. Maybe a lot of people like that, their timeshare. They're happy they got it. Where do you go on this path? And you're in the mountains, climbing up a purplish looking mountain with the clouds and the perfect blue sky and the land beyond and around, little villages tucked in. Getting to your spot that you need to get to before nightfall, so you can wash up and eat and change your clothes and meditate and feel that peace. Like in Kyle's cabins and his wife or his girlfriend Sierra, they have their videos out in the cabins and it's so peaceful and the dogs running around and the cats running around and they're doing their cooking and their chores and they're resting and just the silence. And my mind said, that's not for people like me. Just like when I'm a doctor. I said, oh, that's not for people like me. So I'm seeing tons of patients. I got to do the billing. Do the billing, Mia. Come on. It is for people like you because your path took you there. When you're out in the woods, you can only be in one place at one time. When you're out in the woods, your home is where your heart is. You're home when you're out on someone else or public land looking at the river and the geese going by. When you're walking by someone's farmland, driving by it, you're where your heart is and you're there. It's not your farmland. You don't own it. We shouldn't even own it. It should be shared, but that's a whole nother story. So when there's a lot of land that's coming up for $5,000 that's on a bumpy road that needs a four-wheel drive, that has its own well and electric, and it's on an embankment or something where there's water access, and you think that's not for me. It's not for people like me. It's for somebody that's going to be white and put up a hunting blind, or, they're just like, oh, they're going to just set up this family cabin and they're going to have their wife and grandkids. That's not for people like me. Why not? You're going to be some hippie doctor, integrated hippie doctor, naturopathic doctor, birth worker sitting in your cabin, like Hal's cabin, running the furnace or running the, what's the heater? There's wood stove. Preparing your food, running your off-grid system, tidying up, keeping pests out, all that stuff. And you're busy all day, whether you're in the city, whether you're in the suburb, whether you're in the $2,400 a month low-income housing projects. working 20 hours a day, or being a student at birth 72 hours in a row. You don't get paid a penny. You don't get a gas card. You don't get someone to hand you a lunch bag full of sandwiches. You don't get anything. You get the education so that when you become a midwife, naturopath midwife or midwife, then you get to do your work and get paid and make a decision about how much you pay your employees after that, and your apprentices and your assistants. There's some people that's coming to mind, a couple people that I feel like I want to call today. That if you're on that path and you're like me, that energy of saying it's not for people like me can push away the gift that God is giving you, or the opportunities that God is giving you. And it can make people that you put on a pedestal. You're angry, like if you're angry like me and you don't have that look that people look for, that soft face, gentle on the eyes, people be polite. You'll give the gifts that God has for you to those people. And they're not necessary. It's not a bad thing, but it's not. They could be preying on you. So flip their hair and say, "Hey, give me, give me, give me," and you could say, and their kids watch how they're being treated, so they end up passing that on. And God had a gift for you because your heart and your mind was here to help people. God wanted to help people, and to help your kids and family, and to help people in your demographic. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter if you're white, blonde hair, blue-eyed male. People that I know like that say, we're the ones that are being treated badly in this country. And it's like, I can't believe you said that. Because you're not necessarily getting the grants. You're not showing up at the welfare line where everybody in line is a person of color, getting the expired food. As far as I know, unless there's an income cap, which you probably go over, there's no one stopping you from going to get help or going to sign up for USDA housing and housing programs that cost 5 times more than it would cost to have bought a house when you started renting that place 12 years ago. Like, there's nothing stopping you except for yourself, because you're not going to sign up for that program because you're not as desperate. You don't need that program. You can go and make $20,000 a year and buy a $200,000 house because of your look and because of your title and because of how you're carrying yourself. There's a trust with that demographic. Oh yeah, he'll pay it. And I hear the stories of the realtors saying the people that they allowed buy $1 million house and how they had millions of dollars and didn't pay, or they can't even rent at $800 a month. Have millions of dollars in their bank account and didn't pay their rent for 9 months and got evicted. But you got someone that's been in homeless programs where they're charging you 95% of your income in rent. See, just because it's a homeless program doesn't mean they're not charging you an arm and a leg to live there. That's what I was emphasizing my point earlier. But your universe puts these things like in a video game where you're going to collect the little tokens, and it puts that in your path. And for me, when your higher power says to give one of those coins to that person there, doesn't matter what's their story. That real-time gut feeling, gurgling gut feeling, is when you do something. And don't allow this group to say, hey, this person doesn't give enough. This person doesn't do enough. We check the books, and it's supposed to be confidential, but we all talk about who's giving what, and who gets a plaque on the wall, and who gets this. And it's like, well, that person, like the lady in the Bible, gave 40% of their income. And to you, that's only $100. But this person gave 0.3% of their income, and it was $1 million. So, of course, they got the plaque on the wall. But it was nothing. It wasn't a sacrificial giving. It wasn't believing in a higher power for manna from the sky so that you don't starve to death for another 24 hours of your life, that you can't afford your medication, that you're having hope. And when does having hope and when do the tables start to turn with the karmic wheel, where you're going to be getting the blessing and reaping what you sowed? Is it sow what you reap what you sow, right? Yeah, sow seeds. You're reaping what you sow. Will you ever see that day? What I wanted to say in part of this video is to keep looking. I found a piece of land out here. There was from the city, like 2 hours away, there was land going up on auction, and I saw it in 2020, and it was really cheap. And people weren't bidding on this stuff. Has gone out of 1 or 2 zeros at the end. Something was starting bid 1,000, now starting 10,000 or 30,000. The same type of building. It might even be the same buildings. And maybe that doesn't mean anything. Maybe no one's going to buy them, but I know that people will. They're advertising income generating property, Section 8 tenants. I saw land over here, but it was like swampland, and I had like 3 hours left to the auction. I did not look at it, and I don't have the money. But I wasn't aware that they were doing it outside that city where there's a lot of burnout houses and row houses and ground rent that you have to pay every year to whoever actually owns. So you're not actually even owning the land. You have to pay ground rent. Who knows what that would be in 50 years when your kids are trying to live there, you know. It could be $50 when you buy it, $100 in 2 years. It could be $10,000 a year. Who knows? Someone could lose it because they had a ground right, or a ground, whatever, space, whatever I just said. My eyelash coming out. What do you do when you feel like it's not for me and you give it? You're not necessarily giving away property. You're not buying it. You say, oh, I spent $10,000 and bought this piece of property and I gave it to someone because they smiled and said, I get everything from anyone I ask for. I didn't even have to ask. I just look at you. Steal your husband, steal your boyfriend, get your kids to call me mommy, like, get your money. Oh, you're going to get a promotion with your own parking spot? I got it. It's not even like that. It's like the energy, you push it away towards that person. And they think this is the way the world is. You go out and you do good and you get rewarded. But what about those people that, like me, feel unattractive? This is societal standards. And then you feel like, oh, it's just because of that. Well, what can you do with the universe to manifest the law of attraction? I just watched a video searching how to buy a house without a loan. I'll talk about this person later, so I didn't finish watching the video. I have to go now because I actually have to get going for my day. I woke up at 3-something. It's already 8 o'clock. I'm ready to go to bed and take a nap and be done with the day, but whatever. We have to do laundry. For sure gotta do laundry. There's gotta be a way that we can move forward, and you could look, this last thing I'm thinking, I guess, I have more to say. You want to buy land and you see people homeless and you have a roof on your head and a way to take a shower. You may not have a washer or dryer. You may not have any cabinets to keep your food. You may not have a proper home to keep pests out. And you feel sorry for someone else because they're only living off donations and pretty much trying to look for old food in the food pantries or the food cabinets that are outside. And you feel like, I shouldn't be looking at a house because any money I should get, I should give to that person. But look at yourself. What did you do differently? The people tell the other people, go work at McDonald's or something. You know, I don't want someone killing me over a minimum wage job. It's more like $18 an hour, though. But what did I do? What did that person say? I'm not going to go work there. You're not going to go work there so you can live in a efficiency or in a hostel for 2-3 months on end, get yourself together, have a shower, be able to deal with your health concerns, have an address, have a phone, place to charge your phone. And what did I do? I worked 20 hours a day. As a doctor, I wasn't making it. I could have ended up on the street stuck. I already was stuck there. It's hard to get out. I went to work at Pizza Hut. I went to work at ASM and do event demos like they do with Costco Lady. Wear your little hat and the apron and give out samples. And call people over and explain what this food is and how here's a coupon. I went to go work at the USPS. Got laid off. I went to go work for the U.S. Census and got laid off 3 times. I overheard someone in a restaurant say they got to be, census job, and they got to be a supervisor. It's black male. I went to go and I took the supervisor test, and I was qualifying for supervisor and regular position. I didn't get the supervisor position. I never did get the supervisor position. And I called to ask about it, and they're like, no, you can't just call and ask about supervisor. I was like, but my paperwork said that I qualified. So where's that job? That job is vacant. I know people that got that job, and they don't like it. They left. They moved out of town, or they quit. Multiple people have left. And they don't necessarily, depending where you live, they don't necessarily pay you more, I found out. So more responsibility, less out in the field. But anyway, it's a whole another story. They don't necessarily pay you more. There's more than one job that I found out. Either they can pay you less as a supervisor. And it looks like, people say, this looks like a typo. HR people you're talking to. So always look at that. Always look at that. I don't know how you find that information out unless you hear somebody. You're alert. Can't hear. Find some hearing aids or whatever. But what did I do to keep the roof over the head? Got a whole bunch of jobs. What did I do when I was working 20 hours a week and felt like I was going to kill myself? Because you're right. The job does get dangerous. You're out alone at night. The supervisor's nowhere to be found. If someone comes in and gun, you call the supervisor when they're sleeping, have their phone lost in their car, under the car seat with the battery dead. That's not going to save your life even if they answer it. And it might not, the police might not come. Even if you're lying there dead for the next 30 hours, until someone comes in the morning. What are you going to do? It got to be dangerous as nighttime jobs. Pizza Huts were being robbed all over Portland when I was working at Pizza Hut as a closing manager. Pizza Huts were being robbed all over, and we had a robbery right across. I got to work one day. All the police were at the, I think it was it T-Mobile or was it another one of the phone? I don't think it was T-Mobile. It was one of the phone company, one of those stores. It had just got robbed, like gunpoint. Two guys in guns. It was broad daylight, Portland, Oregon. This is 2019, 2018 or 19. I think it was 19. And I was working that neighborhood. It's isolated from Barber Boulevard. It's like a hidden driveway. We had customers call all the time to do pickup, but they couldn't find the driveway. So you're vulnerable. You don't have windows to the main road. Someone comes in to hurt you. All the other businesses are closed. Not Panera. What's the other one? Baja Fresh closed earlier than Pizza Hut. So, what are you going to do? Those kind of salads sound good. Ugh, that's what I ate the first night, I think, in Las Vegas. They had a Baja Fresh downstairs. Like, I got a salad with some of the sauces. Hope that they were raw, the avocado sauce or whatever they had. Anyway, it's a different story. I got salad stuff in there I got to eat. But what do? You worked a job, and you get the money for your living expenses then. And if you're like me and you're a doctor, you don't work $12 an hour when you could be making at least $120 an hour. You gotta figure out how to shift to the $120 an hour. You're making $12 an hour, working 10 hours a day, but you're working $120 for 1 hour a day. But what if you're only working 3 days at $120? Well, you're getting like $1,200 a month or whatever. What do you do when you're working that $12 an hour job? Well, guess what? They start not letting you do full time. And even if you worked over 40 hours or over 35 hours, they're not giving you benefits as a full time. So, because it's a part-time job, I was contractual with some of these $12 hour jobs. I was limited about number of hours of a year that I could work. So you're working 5-hour days, not 10-hour days. So you're getting $60 a day. Maybe $70 a day. Plus an hour plus driving. $20 to $30 in gas every day to get to work and back every day. So you're getting $60+ of gas every 2 days. So one day you're getting $60 a day. One day is paying for the 2 days of gas. So it's more like you're getting $30 a day. You see where I'm going here? $30 a day. I can get $120 an hour, but it might take me 10 hours of charting and free consults and calling the insurance company and waiting on hold and looking stuff up for the treatment plan. It might still be $10 a day, but I can talk to you guys. And I can save gas unless I'm going out on a call, which I do, and I'm also on call. So what does the universe have in front of you? Just like the dating thing, I tell these people, don't be envious of me. There's 6, 7 billion, 8 billion people in the world. There's someone for you. There's someone that's looking for someone for you. If you're nice, they can look at your heart and not be vain because you have wrinkles. If you're mean and narcissistic and they're mean and narcissistic, maybe that's the perfect match. Or you can find love and you can go out and eat at fine restaurants and drive your Mercedes and have happiness. Whether it doesn't matter. There's narcissistic personality disorder, that's a medical condition. You can go out and walk your dog and again travel and have joy and have a compatible partner to do it. What I told them is you got a better phone than me, take you a headshot and stick that up online and take a couple of you outdoors and take one with your dog and smile. And they didn't listen to me. These people were getting jealous that I had a partner and they want to snatch out my partner. Try to be like, that person's not for you. It's like, you know what? You're married. Don't be trying to take my partner and trying to snatch up all these other men. Like, that's between you and your partner, whether you're going to date while you're married, even if you're estranged. But it's like, you got something. You already have a relationship, basically, and you're benefiting somehow, financially or whatever, to that relationship. Peace, guys. I'm getting ready for my day. I'm talking because I don't want to get ready for a day. I'm procrastinating. I don't want to do my work. I really wanted to make a video, and this is a lot longer than I thought. But I'm really grateful for today, and I turn in my papers, and I have something sloppy. They're going to be like, this person is a mess. But with the stuff that I'm doing in my life and the volunteer work, people say, oh, we don't give enough. Some people are like, we give all this money to all these associations and we volunteer our time. I was like, you had a glamorous job. You're living in a 5,000 square foot house on 10 acres, and you had an extra beach house, and who knows however many beach houses and RVs, and you're saying how much you're giving and that we can't give enough. It's like, but if you don't understand what it's like to be poor, and you're trying to even volunteer your time, you're not able to work. Every minute you volunteer is another minute you miss in income. And then you go to a mortgage company trying to get a mortgage. They say, why is your income so low? Oh, because I gave it all away to nonprofits. I made myself feel guilty by listening to other people, and I felt sorry for these people. But there's people sitting there being racist and being judgmental and being greedy and treating their sponsees rude for the time being. Like, let them volunteer. Like. And then when the universe puts some kind of mentee or sponsee in my path, then have it again, like giving that coin to someone, have it be like a real time. It could be like a treasure hunt, like that Rachel lady that had given out, trying to give. She was giving more prayer than money. What will be in your treasure hunt? What will be in your royal family? What will be your legacy? There's an article about the royals in UK and how much waterfront property they own and farmland and horse breeding and all this stuff, and it's like, besides the money they get from taxes, and it's like amazing. That is crazy. Peace.